to the Glam Metal Interview Series, presented by RockMusicStar.com, with host Thomas S. Orwat Jr.
Hey everyone, it's Thomas from GlamMetal.com with episode number 14 of the Glam Metal Interview Series. For this episode, I have Kurt Frohlich, the lead singer, rhythm guitarist of LA Guns, which also features Steve Riley, Kelly Nichols, and Scotty Griffin. During this interview, recorded on January 22nd, 2021, Kurt talks about the new LA Guns record entitled Renegades and much, much more. So here he is, Kurt Frohlich. Kurt, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you again for letting us do this interview. We're in Buffalo, New York here. We're all pretty excited about football. Do you watch football at all, you being from Florida?
I'm originally from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, so I'm a hockey guy.
Big hockey fan, yeah.
I just watched the Leafs and versus the Oilers on NHL Network just now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you like these new divisions where all the Canadian teams are together?
They got to do what they got to do. You know, I kind of think they're just thinking outside the box and going, okay, the Canadian teams can't leave Canada, and so they're doing what they can. But I think it's going to create kind of playing a team 2 or 3 times in a row. It's going to be like playoff hockey. It's going to create rivalries. It's going to get mucky. It's going to get good,
Yeah, it almost is kind of like the playoffs. I mean, the Sabres have been playing, we're 1-3 right now. We've had, 2 games against the Capitals, and, that's not fair. I mean, it's like we have a really difficult division.
Tough division.
Yes, it is. Well, anyways, Kurt, I want to get start off right away. We're going to be discussing, of course, LA Guns, the band that you're currently in right now. And there's been a lot of, back and forth with LA Guns. And, everybody knows the controversy about the name, and that there's 2 bands. There's been some, recent news about, Tracy has said that now he owns the trademark, and, kind of like insinuates that, it's only going to be one LA Guns. And Steve has said, no, hold on, that's not really the truth. Can you shed any light on this right now, on what's going on? I mean, as of right now, are you guys still LA Guns?
Absolutely. Yeah. Steve and Tracy own the name 50/50. So, and, from our Facebook page, Steve posted a recent post and showed the paperwork. And, before I got into this band, I wanted, to know that everything was on the up and up, and legal matters were all in line. And so did the record company before we got our deal. So, Steve's a businessman first and foremost. And that's why it's been such a pleasure working with him too, because he's a straight shooter and he just tells it like it is. And that's why, I'm enjoying being in this band.
Yeah, you would think that the record company would be, would really want to make sure also that before they spend all this money that, they're not going to have to pull records from the shelves or anything like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So far with LA Guns, you joined in 2019. How has the experience been for you so far? I mean, you guys had some momentum going, and then the pandemic hits. I mean,
yeah, we're bummed that we didn't, obviously that we didn't get to go out and play live shows to support this record, because we're proud of this record and we're happy the way it came out, and we all contributed equally. So we really wanted to get out and play these songs live, which we will. But, who knows when. We don't, we're supposed to get back up and running in March, doing a show here in Florida first. But, we're just taking it day by day, week by week. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah. You've played 2 gigs with the band so far, right?
We've only done 2 shows together.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen the guys a lot. When we did the record, I saw them for 10 days straight every day, like long hour days, busting our butts, making the record. But, other than that, we can't wait to get playing live.
Yeah. It must also be very kind of disappointing that you can't play those live gigs, and the fact that you also live so far away from one another, you really can't get together. And I mean, it would take a lot for you guys to get together and do that odd gig at the Roxy or whatever.
Yeah, it makes it difficult having all literally in 3 different parts of the country. We got Steve and Scott in Vegas and LA, and then Kelly's up in New York, and I'm way further south in Florida. So it's like opposite ends. So it's really hard we can't just get together and like rehearse a couple times a week. You know, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So
Was there ever any thought of maybe, trying to get the four of you guys together and like doing that like streaming show or anything like that? Was that ever discussed or not really?
not right now. I think we're just being cautious and we don't want to get on planes and risk our health. And,
Yeah.
we're in no big rush. We just want to do everything when it's safe and smart.
Right. Now as far as the record you put out, Renegades, you guys recorded that like right before the whole pandemic hit. I mean, you were pretty fortunate in that.
We're lucky. We got to do it right before Thanksgiving. I flew home Thanksgiving Day in 2019. So like I said, we did it in 10 days. 3 days
Wow.
we did pre-production where we got together and we rehearsed. We went through the songs, the arrangements, if we're going to change anything. And then we were in the studio solid for 7 days recording. Drums first, bass, guitars, then vocals, backup vocals, percussion, everything. And we managed to pull it off in a week, which is pretty crazy,
It is. Was that a little bit stressful having that timeline, or did you just go with it and just say let's crank this out, man?
I think it was looking at it beforehand, but once we got in and the ball started rolling, I think it just things just flowed,
Yeah.
And we all did our homework, so we didn't waste any time in the studio. So, and then we all left and Steve produced the album, and he stayed and mixed the album with June, our engineer, which he did an amazing job too. He was big part of the record.
It really is a great record. And the reviews are interesting too. It's it's a lot. I think a lot of people, the people that actually listen to the record, love the record, and the people who just want to be like dicks about it and get involved in the whole controversy about the name. I mean, they're just like giving it negative reviews without even listening to a note of it, or very little of it. And that's kind of unfair to you guys.
Yeah, I think music lovers will listen to it, check it out. If they like it, great. If they don't, that's cool. Some people don't even listen to Sammy Hagar Van Halen just because it's Sammy Hagar, which they had some good songs too, man. I'm a Dave guy, but you can't deny that, Sammy Hagar's Van Halen was pretty damn good. They had some good songs. So, it's that kind of definitely that diehard mentality, which, and I understand, those guys, the original guys, all the original guys aren't together right now doing it, which if they were, that'd be cool too, man. I'm a big fan. So
yeah, I mean, the way I look at it as an LA Guns fan is I get like an opportunity to hear more music of LA Guns. Hopefully, like soon I'll get an opportunity to see more LA Guns concerts, with both lineups out. So like I'm down with it, man. I love the LA Guns songs. I like their new material. I love the Renegades record. So I mean, if they can't get together, this is the next best thing. And I don't think anybody should be like all bitching about it and starting wars over it. And I mean, as far as the fans go, I mean, just embrace it. And hey, we have two LA Guns bands, so that's awesome. Let's like I said, let's support both of them. But some people aren't like that. So enough about that. I want to talk about the record because I really like the record, and I've been online saying how great the record is, and pretty much you're welcome, pretty much from the start. If you wouldn't mind, I would like to go through some of the tracks, and if you could just tell me a little bit about the tracks and the process. I'm going to start with a song that I really love, and it hasn't been released as a single as of yet, and it should be. And if anything, and I hope I don't regret saying this, but I almost feel that this song maybe isn't as popular as it really deserves to be, because of the fact that there's a band named LA Guns that performs it, because of the fact that it's difficult for like an older type of 80s band to break out with a crossover hit nowadays. I mean, it just hasn't really happened, really. But the song I'm referring to is the song Wood, a song that you wrote. And it's a a slower ballady type of song, and it's brilliant. And I just really I'd like to know how you went about writing that particular track.
I think I took inspiration from kind of some of those 80s heartfelt, I don't know if it's a power ballad. It's not really a power ballad. It's pretty much
No.
acoustic song all the way through, but
Yeah.
it's kind of heartfelt about somebody, being away from their significant other and, the struggles of that. And I think people can relate to that, whether it's, it's not necessarily being on the road in a band. It could be, you're away on a business trip for months at a time. You don't get to see your wife or husband or kids. And, that's kind of how it, it comes from the heart, something like that. So.
Yeah. Was that a song that you had prior to joining LA Guns, or was that a song that you just wrote just for the record?
I had that song for a few years, and I thought it was a strong song, and so did the other guys. That's why it made it on the record, even though it is when you hear that song, you don't think it would be an LA Guns song.
No.
It doesn't sound like something like Ballad of Jane or something. It's a little bit of a step into the future is what we kind of see it. I've always kind of said with LA Guns, the way we're treating, at least the way I am, speak for myself, is we got our ear in the past, but we have our eyes on the future. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
We can't, LA Guns has to have that LA Guns sound, but at the same time, we're not just going to write nostalgia songs. We have to be true to what we feel and what artists write. So that's kind of how I see it.
Yeah. Has there been any talk about that song being released as a single? I know you guys are already 4 singles deep into the record.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we're going to do another single. I don't know the details for sure, but I haven't heard anything yet about Wood being a single.
Okay. Well, I just want to say to everybody out there watching, if you haven't heard this song, go check it out. I mean, it is absolutely a brilliant song, and
thank you.
Congrats on that great song. Yeah. So let's talk about some of the other songs here. Don't Want to Know, I think, is another track that's outstanding. It's the last track on the record. Tell me a little bit about that song.
Steve Riley brought that song to the table, and we were we wanted to be I kind of imagine it as the first album type vibe, where it's just a fast, balls to the wall kind of just rocking song, and we thought it'd be a great closer on the album. So, I don't know, a lot of the stuff we came up with, we would change stuff like that song. We would change let's go to this chord for this section now, and then we'd be okay, we just do it. We do it live on the spot. You know what I mean? It wasn't so. That's literally how we did the record. It was 4 guys in a room going, oh man, Kelly was let's go to the B on this part in that song where it comes, and it punches a few times, do, do, do. And we're yeah, cool. Okay, let's cut it. And then, we'd cut the song. So that's kind of how that song came along. It was 4 guys rocking in a room together. So
yeah, I mean, I really like the diversity of the record too, and then that's pretty much what you just explained there. I mean, it's not just a straight out throwback to the '80s. I mean, like you said, there are definitely I can hear the Beatles in there. I mean, I can hear all sorts of influences, and it's really cool. I really admire the way that the record sounds, and how you guys, like I said, just didn't go for a retro '80s in your face. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
yeah,
but I mean, this is refreshing, and this this gives the band this whole new dimension. I think.
I think the stuff I love about LA Guns and their catalog is it's hard rocking, Les Pauls into Marshalls,
Right.
but it has the great hooks and the great melodies, and that's what we tried to do with the record, where there's catchy hooks and there's good melody and harmony. There's harmonies in there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of what we were conscious about, I think, all of us.
Yeah. Let's see, what else do I want to ask about? I think Witchcraft is also a really cool song.
Yeah, I'm a big horror movie fanatic. So that one comes out of I remember reading Interview with the Vampire Anne Rice book and years ago, and watching some old school vampire movies of and Suspiria. I don't know if anybody's seen that. So that's kind of where that song came from when I came up with that.
Right.
And the guys put all their own spin on stuff and lyrics. They helped with lyrics, and so it was all collaboration. But that's an older song that.
Was there a lot of collaboration? I mean, you guys obviously came in with the songs, but then I mean, you guys were pretty much open to like, hey, you have any other ideas, let's go for it. Was it kind of that attitude?
And we would cut something. I'd be in the vocal booth singing, and Kelly and the guys would be in the control room, and I'd sing something. They go, through the talkback, they go, "Oh, no, try it. Why don't you try this?" I go, "Okay." So then I try it, and we'd all be like, that's cooler, or whatever, So it was just because we brought a song to the table and it had these lyrics or these melodies, if we could come up with something better together and give it more dimension, then great.
Yeah, for a band that really wasn't together very long before you started recording it, I mean, you guys really sound like you have some great chemistry together.
I think we respect one another and we respect each other's artistic angles, and I'm learning. I learned from these guys. I learned from Kelly, and who wrote Ballad of Jane, and from Steve Riley, who's played in a lot of amazing projects, and on the production end of things, So I just kind of keep my ears open sometimes, and and listen and learn.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what a great experience to play with those veteran musicians.
And Scotty too, man. Scotty he's a hard worker. He's got the right attitude, and he's got the chops. He played great guitar on the album.
That's another thing that I think was very surprising. Not that anyone doubted his talent, but I mean, he was a bass player before, and that's kind of like a big step up to go from bass to playing lead guitar, as just the main guitarist in the band, and he nailed it. I mean, some of that stuff on that record it's really amazing.
Yeah, Scotty really thought things through when he would come up with the solo or whatever, and he'd show up and he'd be like, "This is what I got. What do you know?" And I'm like, he, like I say, who works at it, he wants to make it has to have the right vibe, and it has to have the right. So he's very conscious of all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about on the record? Well, let's go with the first single that was released, Crawl. I mean, that's a really cool song. Doesn't have a guitar solo on it, but it doesn't suffer from it. I mean, there's Kelly plays the little bass, line, and where probably a guitar solo would have been. And Scotty's riffs are really cool, and it doesn't really suffer because it doesn't have that, mandatory 80s guitar solo in it. I mean, that's a very unique and cool song.
That's from the mind of Kelly Nichols, so that's that whole cool LA Guns type vibe, man. That's when he brought that song in really raw form to the table. I was like, that's the vibe, man. That's what something off Cocked and it could be off Cocked and Loaded. I don't know. That's kind of how I imagine, and so, yeah, that's kind of why I think.
I think that was a good point you made. It did kind of set the tone for the record. I mean, that being the first single, it was like, wow, this is a little bit different than each single that came out after that. Was like, Well-Oiled Machine came out. I'm like, wow, that's different, and that's cool too. And it was, it was like really a good strategy, I felt. And I mean, I was, really waiting for the record to come out. From the time the first single came out, which I believe was April 20th, to the time the record that was actually released, which was in November, right? November 13th, I think.
I think you're right. 13th. It was Friday the 13th. So
yeah, right. So that was a long time between the single and the record. But I mean, I think, I'm assuming that you guys probably did that because of the fact that, you didn't want to put it out because of the pandemic.
We were kind of, everything was so, and still is, up in the air. Like, are we going to be able to go play? Because we wanted to release it and then start getting out and playing. But, as we know, everything just keeps getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. So, that was kind of like, we wanted to give the fans something to listen to, but
well, thank you for doing that as a fan. I mean, it was kind of sucked being a fan in 2020, but at least we had some good singles coming from LA Guns, at least. I mean, to keep us going. But
I'm glad you guys are digging it, man. The fans people have been open-minded and checking out the whole record, and that's cool.
Yeah. Now, I want to remain optimistic about 2021. I mean, I really need to see some concerts. Do you guys have any plans to are you starting to book any dates or anything for 2021, or is that still a little bit off in the future for you
Yeah,
guys?
we have dates booked. So
You
we're
do?
just waiting
Okay.
to see when things are safe and we can all get on planes and people can get together. We don't want to do anything where, everyone gets in a big indoor venue and are shoulder to shoulder, even if in some places it is legal to do that. We just want to be safe and
Right.
smart.
Yeah.
We don't want to get sick, and we don't want
No.
other people getting sick at a show.
No, I think that's probably how it's going to roll out. It's probably going to be like, bands playing like maybe clubs, but having like it is now in New York where we have like 25% capacity allowed. I mean, something like that, although it's not going to be super profitable for the promoters and probably the bands, but at least we'll get live music out, get the bands, out on the road again. That's how I feel it's going to be.
Yeah, it's hard for, to do like a festival where there's 2 or 3 days of,
Yeah.
of bands all day and all night. And, promoters can't make the money if they're only allowed to have 20% capacity. So,
Yeah. Have you guys discussed the set list at all? I mean, like I said, with this record being so amazing and the back catalog of LA Guns, I'm hoping that you guys don't do what a lot of bands do, and that's like, put out a record and not really, promote it live. I'm hoping
no,
that
we're going to play songs off the new record.
right, like at least
Yeah.
5 of them.
that would be nice, but we got to fit in those. You got to play those hits.
I know
man.
you got so many classics to choose from, right? Yeah.
So many good songs, man.
Yeah, I want to go back to your very first gig with the band, which was you were thrown right into the fire and playing it at the MP3 Fest. No, it's not MP3, it's M3
M3.
Fest.
Yeah.
M3. That sucks. I made that mistake. But yes, the M3 Fest. Playing in front of thousands of people. How was that for you? Going in, playing your very first gig with LA Guns in front of all those people.
It was nerve-wracking, I'm not going to lie, because we didn't get much rehearsal. We maybe rehearsed for a day.
Wow, really only a
and
day?
pretty well. They flew me out to LA to kind of give me like to make sure I could sing the stuff and play the stuff. They weren't worried about my guitar playing, so they said, "Put down the guitar. Let's see." Kelly's like, "We want to hear you sing." And then they're like, "Cool." So after a day of kind of going through stuff and seeing what songs would work for this lineup, then the next day we just went through the set like 3 or 4 times that we were going to do at M3, and that was it. And then
Wow.
we showed up at M3 and we saw each other in the hotel and we were like, all right, see you backstage.
Wow.
So is that, you can imagine that's kind of nerve-wracking for a band that's going to be under the microscope on stage. And everyone just had to do their homework and learn their shit. And so when you do get on stage, everyone knows what everyone's going to do.
Yeah, and not only a microscope on stage, but also for the whole like hard rock world, because
Yeah.
everyone was waiting to see how is this new LA Guns going to come across live.
Yeah, everyone's
And
got a cell phone, man.
yeah,
Shooting
so
video.
so like it wasn't just the people there in the audience. There was like probably like at least another million other people were saw that performance, and I thought it was great. I loved how you opened up with "Over the Edge," one of my favorite LA Guns songs, probably one of my favorite songs ever. That's a great song, and
Great.
I thought you guys nailed it, and it was a good set list, and it didn't come across like you guys were nervous at all. I mean, you guys
That's
looked
cool.
like a pretty experienced. Like I said, the chemistry again. That's the thing that surprised me the most. I mean, you can get 4 brilliant musicians, and if they don't have chemistry, I mean, it's like the band's garbage.
Yeah, I think we enjoy hanging around each other, and we just want to play, man. So that's what it comes down to. It's how it is. It's not, when you put a record out, you're not making a bunch of money off making a record. You're losing money making a record. So
right, yeah,
it's about enjoying it, and we want to do it. And those guys have been part of LA Guns since the first record, so like they don't not want to play
right,
these songs that they wrote in their band that they were a huge integral part of.
yeah. And going back to the LA Guns and the original lineup, I mean, I think Kelly and Steve, would welcome, going back, maybe not at this point, but before, he got this version together, I'm sure they would have welcomed going back and getting the regular LA Guns back together, with the original lineup. And like you said, it's sort of, it's they have every right to play the songs too. They weren't allowed back in the lineup, so they want to, they should still be able to play the songs.
Yeah.
And then you have that legal thing where Riley still owns half the name, so why not? I mean, I guess why not, right? So I mean,
I agree.
yeah.
Some people I understand that the singer and the lead guitar player are the band, and I get it too. I understand. I'm not the original voice. I get it, man. So
right.
That's why it's great that we got to put a record out and we just kind of did things. That's how we sound,
Yeah. Yeah. I want to go back to another band that you played with years back. You were also in Faster Pussycat for a year or two. What was that experience like for you?
It was the same kind of thing where Brent Muscat and I had an original band together, and he reached out to Tammy and all the other guys to do a anniversary. I think it was a 25th anniversary tour, and Tammy had his thing going, so he didn't want to do it. And so he got Eric Stacy and Brett Bradshaw. And then he said, Tammy doesn't want to do it. Do you want to come out and do it? And I said, what are we doing? He goes, we're going to go to Europe. We're going to do this. I said, okay, I'll come out and let's give it a shot. And I called my buddy Todd Kearns and said, we need a guitar player. You want to come do it? He said, sure. So we went and did it. We did like 2 or 3 rehearsals and the band sounded great.
Yeah.
And we just did those first 2 records and maybe 1 or 2 off Whipped. And yeah, that was what was great. We went out to Europe with Bullet Boys and Enough's Enough. And we headlined that 3-band show. And it was great because we'd play. And by the end of that, we were like a well-oiled machine,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So we came back, we did a couple shows and things just didn't work out. And Todd and Muscat went off and did Sin City Sinners after that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So overall, that you thought that was a pretty cool experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was.
I just love that band, and I'm the same like LA Guns. I love the songs. I love that. I love how the vibe of the band. To me, that's what I loved about some of those late '80s. They had a cool vibe and they had a cool attitude, but they had great melodic songs too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the LA Guns and Faster Pussycat, I view them, right up there with Guns N' Roses. I mean, they all came out like in that same period of time. And I thought they were like all their debut records, I thought were like amazing. And, I was hooked right away too. I love them.
And then their second records were even better to me. Like Wake Me When It's Over and Cocked and Loaded. I'm like, those 2 albums are, they're timeless albums. They sound great today.
Yeah, I agree with you. You also play some. I have a side project called Acoustic Edge, and you play shows out in Florida, right, at the House of Blues.
I'm a working musician, so I do like 10 different things. I just did a gig for a corporate company that hired us to do a Van Halen song, and they had a big production crew, and they had jibs, and and we played Right Now for a company, and it was cool. So,
wow.
So I do everything from that to, I play Right Now. I want to work, so I play solo acoustic at House of Blues here in Orlando, outside, and I got a rock band with the guys from the Blue Man Group here, and we do British rock.
Wow, that's Hooligans, right?
Yeah,
and
we do that. So I play full time. I'm a full-time musician. That's all I know how to do.
Mm-hmm. When you play your solo acoustic shows, what are some of those songs you play?
I do like 60s to 90s rock, just stuff I love. I do a lot of The Who. I do some Zeppelin. I do, Beatles and Stones, and I love British rock stuff. So I do like T-Rex and a little mix of, and then I do some like 80s rock and roll, maybe some 80s pop, some Cars or stuff like that. But yeah, I don't do anything really past the 90s.
Yeah,
just not into it.
Right. No, I totally understand that. What was the first record that you purchased?
I got my first Kiss record, the self-titled album, when I was 6 years old.
Oh,
from
wow.
my cousin who played in a rock band. And that was it, man. I had a little Mickey Mouse turntable with Mickey's finger was the needle. And I put that on and I was like looking at the cover going, holy crap, who are these guys? I've never heard of them before.
Right.
6 years old. And I was like, Strutter. I was like, oh my God, Strutter was my favorite song. So
I'm
that's
sure.
how it all started.
I'm sure the sound is so good on that. I'm sure you could really have heard the warmth of the vinyl,
It's
right?
like it's like one speaker and this little, and I was like, it's not cool because it's not on a Mickey Mouse turntable. That's not cool.
Wow,
Mom, I want a new turntable.
that's a great
Yes.
story.
So that's how it all started. And then from there I took drum lessons because I wanted to be Peter Criss. And then I picked up the guitar around age 15 because I got into the Who and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. How do you feel about the current lineup of Kiss right now? I mean, there seems to be, two different views on it. Got the people that, oh, it's not cool not having the original members, and then you have the other people that, oh, it's fine. It's like, it's Kiss. At least I'm going to see Kiss, and Tommy and Eric are great. So where do you fall in or
I
on that?
see it because, I've been in bands my entire life. This is all I've ever done. So I understand when you can't get along or business doesn't work out with one or two of the other guys. It sucks. It does, it's, look at the situation I'm in now, but
Right.
it's like, if you can't work with somebody or you don't want to work with somebody, it doesn't happen. So I kind of see it from that side. Cause I love Ace Frehley's like one of my top 4 guitar players of all time. I love Ace's playing and his songwriting and the vibe he brings to the band. But, I think Tommy does a great job, but obviously he's not Ace, but
Right.
And they're a great band, but either that or they wouldn't play probably.
Right. That's
kind of what it comes
true.
down to, really.
Yeah.
Of course I want the original guys to do it, but I get it. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, I think anyone that actually went there for their first farewell tour in 1999, 2000. I mean, I saw that, and it kind of didn't have. I mean, they kind of were very lackluster, I thought. I was kind of disappointed at that show. I mean, it was a big change from the reunion tour of 1996. And
yeah, I saw that show. Yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of felt like, wow, the energy just wasn't there, and I kind of agree with them, moving forward with different members, because the energy, I didn't feel it was there. I don't know. Maybe when it came back, but I don't know.
To do what those guys do, man, it's not like being in a regular rock band. You got to put on boots. You got to put on the outfit. You got to be a friggin' superhero character.
Yeah.
And to do it at their age, man, like that's, like Steven Tyler pulls it off or Mick Jagger pulls it off or, that's like, they set the bar pretty high for themselves.
Yeah. If you could go out on the road with any band, what band would it be? Have LA Guns open for? Who would you pick if you had your dream headlining band?
Oh, Kiss is definitely one of them, but I can't think of, I love the Who. I love Kiss. I love Aerosmith. Any of those bands would be amazing to go to. AC/DC, obviously.
Yeah, right.
So
what was the biggest audience that you've ever played in front of before?
Maybe some shows in Canada I did with my band back. I don't know, maybe like 15, 20,000.
Oh, wow.
Like outdoor festival stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Where they have like that, those outdoor classic rock festivals where, we're not the headliner.
Right. No,
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. Awesome. Have you started writing any new material for LA Guns for a upcoming record, or have you guys just?
I've been writing.
Yeah.
Because we're not out really working much. So I'm just doing the odd outdoor show here in Florida, we're lucky we can here in Florida. Spaced, safe shows outside. A lot of places can't do that because we have the weather here. But so I've been writing, man.
Oh, great.
I've written some songs, some pretty cool songs, that you can do in the home studio now. You can really create a lot from, programming, getting ideas with drums, getting ideas with, melodies, guitars, everything. So
Yeah, I kind of feel like for an artist this time, away from all the fans and away from playing out live, if you haven't had a chance to write material, you're not really a musical artist. I mean,
Yeah,
this,
I think when you're an artist, you get the itch. It's
yeah,
like, because I work in some cover bands too, which I still enjoy. I get to play the suite and,
right,
stuff like that. But still, man, I got to create. I got to write my own music.
right. Would you consider putting out a solo record at any point, or are you pretty much just writing for LA Guns at the
Well, the
moment?
Hooligans, we put out a record and we wrote 7 original songs we put on there.
Oh,
We
really?
put some British covers on there, and we just put it out mainly just to sell at our shows, because a lot of our people here love the band and they want to hear some original stuff. And we were sitting in quarantine, so we figured might as well.
Yeah, well, that's
So
cool.
we did that. As far as doing a solo record myself, I haven't. I'm just focusing on writing more LA Guns material.
Excellent. Well, for the people that are watching this right now, how can they get a hold of that Hooligans CD?
You can go to thehooligansorlando.com.
And you can buy it through
Yeah,
there. Okay.
you can purchase it as a CD, or you can get the MP3 streaming version you can download. You order it and you get MP3s as downloads.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, well, Kurt, I really want to thank you for your time. Like I said, I really enjoy this record. Renegades is a great
Thank you.
record. Again,
And they can go to laguns.net for that.
yes, make sure you do, and make sure you check out that song Wood too. I mean, there's a lot of, the LAGuns.net, there's a lot of great merchandise there too. I mean, if you're a fan and you want some really cool merchandise, they're going to set you up over there. I mean, they have
Kelly is the mastermind of all our marketing, our merchandise and everything, man. He's got the eye. So yeah, go check it out.
He does, and that new logo is incredible. That is such a cool, cool LA Guns logo. So again, thank you very much for your time, and hopefully we'll see you in Buffalo in 2021. And,
maybe we could see an Sabres Oilers game.
You know what? It would have to be like,
It'd have to be during the
finals,
playoffs.
Right? Yeah, I don't. The way the Sabres are playing, I'll just be lucky if they make the playoffs. I mean, but we got the Bills, so I mean, the Bills are going all the way this season. So that's
cool, man.
That's gonna be awesome. All right, well, thanks again, Kurt. You take it easy.
Thanks, Thomas.
All right, we'll see you. Bye.
Bye-bye.